Yo, welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris Furlong. I am your host, and I'm super excited to be back here having the conversation with you. And today is episode 52, and actually, we have now passed the 1 year mark of doing this podcast. And it's been an adventure, actually, just starting this and actually making it happen. And here I am just thinking back on, that last year of actually starting it and getting started, and it's just been an amazing journey. And a lot of it all comes back to you. So a big thank you. And I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, that this would not be possible without you, because you are the listener. You are the person that I am making this for. So I really do appreciate it. And if you find that these episodes are resonating with you and maybe someone else might resonate from it too, then please share it. That would mean the absolute world for me. And if you're listening to this at the time of release, there is still time to get your hands on a $50 Amazon gift card voucher as a giveaway that I'm doing to celebrate hitting 1 year on the podcast of Further Your Lifestyle. So all those details are over on my Instagram. Of course, that's only for this period of time up until the 13th of March. So it really is amazing to see what you can do and what you are capable of achieving and what you can actually do when you put your intent and action at hand, right? And I've done this firsthand experience for the last year, building out this podcast and a few other things from taking a chance on myself. And look, I think if we reflect on it and if we think about it, when we put our minds to things, our passion and action to work, when we combine all those things, you can do so much and you can become so much more than what you are now. And it's not about being the best or being bigger and better. But I know we all have goals and we all have these things that we want to achieve. And you can do so much if you just let yourself do that. And in this episode, that's really what I want to talk about, is just help you understand of the power of taking action and the potential it leads to. And I've touched on this quite a few times in a few different ways. And today I want to really break it down in a few different examples. But I will say this is, I cannot guarantee you will be successful overnight, right? And I can't say that if you do this, that's what will happen. But what I can promise is through consistency, your results, they will speak loud enough for you to make you smile, to make you feel happy, and for you to see the potential that you have inside of you. And that's really all you need. You need to find that spark, find that potential and ignite it, and then you can get the ball rolling. And that's called the snowball effect, because once you start moving, getting that momentum, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's a snowball. So in the last year, and even to this day and every day going forward, one thing that I'm constantly challenged with is action, right? And action is what's going to enable us to move forward. And ironically, there is a threshold, of belief and comfort and risk we are all willing to tolerate at a certain point in time. When we get to the edge of growth, and actually leveling up, you're on the boundary of your comfort zone, and we tend to sit on the fence a lot. I do this. I'm putting my hand up, first person to admit that I do this. And we start debating, should we proceed? Are we willing to jump over that fence? Are we willing to stretch ourselves, get uncomfortable, and take that next step? And, we might come up with a lot of excuses or doubt, and we struggle with imposter syndrome, compare, perfectionism, overthinking, questioning, or delaying, and you just get stuck in your head. And I know this because there's stuff that I'm working on at the moment, and I'm feeling this right now. But I want to share some stories with you today. Once again, it's a bit more story time, and which might help give you some perspective of why it is important to step out of that comfort zone a little bit. And I'll give them to you in a few different ways or perspectives, because they will resonate with each of us differently. And some of you might have done this and some of you might not have, but I think they're very, very relevant. And it's something which I would challenge you to try more of it, right? And the first one of that is, have you ever been to a shop and, well, of course you've been to a shop, you go shopping, and when you do, you're about to make a purchase, and there's usually that thought, and think about this, you're curious and you're debating in your mind about asking for a discount. Now, usually you either do or you don't, and usually you don't ask for a discount. But let's say you're about to spend $80, $50, or $100, and what if you were to ask, is this the best price that you can do? Of course, there's certain domains and retail environments where this would not apply, but there's certain places where it could apply. And, is this the best price that you can do? Or is there any discounts that you can do on this one? Now, what are the two possibilities that can come from this? Either you will save some dollars, or nothing will change, and nothing's changed. You might feel like you get rejected, but nothing's changed. You're still paying what you're expecting to pay. So take a moment and think about how many times you have thought about doing this, because I know you've thought about doing it, because I do it all the time. And think about the amount of times that you thought about doing it and you did not. Now imagine for a moment all those times if you had asked and on average you saved $5 to $10. Do a quick calculation in your head. What's the number that you potentially could have saved? Is it $100, $50, $500? Is it more? And it surprises me of how easy this is, because just the other day I did it myself. I've been going in there for a long time, and this is part of my reselling journey and thrifting, and I go into the op shops and pick up goodies, and I was about to spend $150. I was prepared to pay $150 for these items. And I said, hey, look, before I proceed, two questions. One, do you guys have any more of this out back? They said no. And then second, I said, any possible chance of a discount? I just figured I'm about to, buy quite a lot here. Is there any discount? And the lady first said, well, actually, yeah, you're in here all the time. You're always buying things. So let me see what I can do. And then she asked me, how much of a discount do you want? And I said, well, look, to be honest, that's entirely up to you. So they wiped off a good amount. It was about 20% actually. But if I didn't ask, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. And this is so important, because it just goes to show that when you do ask, things happen. And I had to take the action for that to even happen. But I was stuck in my head, and sometimes we get so stuck that we don't ask because we think that's not going to happen. So that's the first point I wanted to share with you. Has this resonated with you? Is this something that you struggle with? Because it's a small example of that bigger picture that I'm talking about, of taking action over a long period of time and making a difference in your life. The next example that I want to share with you, or number 2, is the debate between luck and action. People look at others and think, wow, how lucky are they? And this is very generalized, but go with me. They have this, they wear that, they do this, they drive that car, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. And we probably are, we're probably doing this ourselves and comparing and seeing what other people are doing. But the thing is, there comes a lot of compare, and there's all this jealous judgment. And as I said, I am generalizing, but just to get this point across. But what really is luck? And I did a quick little Google search on the dictionary, and it is defined as success or failure apparently brought by chance rather than through one's own actions. And it says apparently being the key word here. So it doesn't actually mean that it is brought by chance, but apparently brought by chance. Now, you see, if we don't take action to put ourselves in an opportunity or in the place for something to occur, then we can never be lucky. I can sit in my room all day and do nothing. I'm not going to win $1 million. I mean, I could enter a lottery ticket and maybe then I will win sitting in my room. But my point isn't, don't go out and buy a lottery ticket. What I'm trying to say is I had to take action in order for that possibility to even occur. Of course, there's still a very low chance of that occurring. But the point here is, if you want change, if you want luck that you think other people have, you need to go out and make it come to you. You need to bring it into your environment, or you need to be in the environment where that could occur. Put it this way. If, let's say you want to have a cash cow business. Cash cow business means you have a lot of cash flow, you have a lot of cash, and money's coming in really, really quick. So my question is then, well, okay, that's what you want. So what are you doing today which presents an opportunity for that to continue or to grow that way, right? What are you doing to make that happen? If you want to be fit, if you want to have a fit body, if you want to feel lean, if you want to feel good about yourself, what are you doing today, once again, which presents the opportunity to enable you to have your body start to grow that way? You see, it isn't about people being given a silver spoon or given something on a platter. It's about people standing up, taking action, and accepting the opportunity to make the progress happen. Sometimes people will catch a break. People will be connected with someone. That will be introduced to someone. They'll come into some money. They'll get a new door open for them. But once again, they are out there stepping forward and being available to have that opportunity. It's like they might have been introduced to someone, but if you didn't go to that conference, if you didn't go out there to meet new people, if you didn't go out to network, then how can you be introduced to a new person? So it's a bit of back and forth, right? And like I said, it is a debate, and I would love to hear what your thoughts on this, but hopefully this gives you some idea that sometimes we are our own worst enemies in helping us move forward because we get so stuck on, nah, that's not going to happen, or they're just getting lucky. But what are you doing to enable yourself to grow and to then look like you are getting it all together, or you do have it all together? Because it might look like that on the surface, but I tell you, deep down, there's a lot of things happening to enable that person to grow and to come up with those numbers, or to produce those numbers, or to actually get those results. Now, the third point, or I guess the third story that I kind of want to talk about, is a combo of the previous two. Now, this is a bit more personal, but I want to grow this podcast, right? I want to get it big, and I want to be bold with it, and I want to get it to 10,000 downloads this year. And one way to do this is to connect and have guests on the podcast which are broader and larger than my current audience. So of course, they have to be relevant to what I'm trying to have this podcast speak about, but it enables new ears to get in front of the podcast because they have a broader audience. My current audience is, I'm having on average 30 downloads a week, and I've probably got about 79, 80, maybe 100 even unique listeners. But, if I want to have an additional 200 unique listeners, I need to have an audience that is going to be introduced that isn't already in my audience. And the quickest way to do that is to connect with people with a larger audience that is relevant to the brand. Now, once again, coming back to this, the quickest way to then actually, or I guess the way to hack at this, of getting those people on the podcast, is to do 10 emails out to 10 people that meet the criteria of this, what I want to be able to do, and have them on the podcast and see if anyone bites. Now, let's see 1 or 2 bite. That means I'm 1 or 2 ahead. Now, if I didn't reach out to those 10 at all, then I wouldn't be anywhere ahead, but I'm now 1 or 2 ahead. Similar to this, I was delaying and reaching out to a guest who has about a 30x times following than my current audience. And I finally did. I'd been delaying this for months, I kid you not. And I thought maybe they wouldn't have the time for me. They wouldn't respond, or they wouldn't think it's worth it. And I delayed this for months. And I finally reached out. And when I did, they replied within 15 minutes, saying they would love to be on the podcast. They would love to be a guest. However, they're actually booked out to the end of the year and they can't do anything. So let's touch base later and see if we can book something in. And I was like, this is crazy, because the only reason why I haven't been able to get them on earlier is because I failed to reach out. If I had just connected and reached out to them earlier as I had intended, and not delayed and got so stuck up in my head, maybe I would have already had them on the podcast. Now, not to say that that would have made me blow up or anything like that, but the whole point here is that taking the first step forwards into progression, aka action, it is really, really hard. It's not easy, right? And then following through is just as hard, and it's just as potentially not as easy either. But if you give yourself a chance, if you give yourself some room to wriggle, learn and grow, and give yourself a break, right? You'll be able to take some small steps of progress daily over a period of time, and soon it will be a week, a month, a year, and you'll be a new place of reality. Like, your reality would have changed. And it might be more or less than the expectation that you had in the first place, but it will be further than you are now. And when you look back, you'll see how incredible it is. And it might just be as simple as reaching out to some new leads, or connecting with some people, starting to do something on a daily basis consistently. Maybe it's drawing, writing, journaling, running, reselling, whatever, right? Starting a podcast. But what anyone can create, if they just learn to leap forward or step forward or be willing to learn, try, and have an open mind, the potential is unlimited, right? And the world is your and our oyster. It's not luck, right? It's showing up and taking action and being willing to take on opportunity. I know it as I've been doing this for the last year, right? And I'm not saying that I have all the answers and I've got it figured out, but over the last year, I've done 52 episodes, over 1,800 listens, nearly 2,000 listens, and that's averaging, between 5 and 6 per day. It just blows my mind. And it's not about the numbers. It's not about having the biggest following. It's about knowing what you're doing. Is it making you happy? Is it empowering you? Is it inspiring you? But is it what you love? Is it your passion? Is it your purpose? But most of all, is it helping others? Is it making a difference? Is it making a change? And it's bigger and better than just what I'm trying to achieve, because it's actually making a difference for other people. And that's really what it comes down to: passion and purpose. And the question I have for you before we finish is, do you have that? Have you found that? If no, what action will you take today to become one step closer to finding that passion, that purpose, and all that we've discussed today. And it might be just stepping over that fence out of your comfort zone to explore it a little more. You will be surprised of what you can do daily over a year or over 30 days or over a period of time. What have you got to lose? Seriously, what have you got to lose? Give it a go, see what you can do, go for it, and don't be shy. Like, seriously, I'm here to cheerlead for you. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. And that's what I wanted to chat about today. I really just wanted to kind of share those different perspectives and help you realize that sometimes we get so stuck up in our heads that we fail to move forward. And I've been struggling with this a lot because I'm about to try some new things that I haven't done before. And that's, expanding the podcast in the realms of what it's wanting to do. And there'll be more information on this soon, and even on my personal channel and things like that. And it's important that we are growing and adapting. And it's important that you understand that you are dealing with, the doubt and the fear and the worry. But working through that, working with someone else, having the conversation is what's super important. So if you want to connect, if you want to have a conversation, then by all means, please jump on over to our Instagram at Further Your Lifestyle. You can hit us up on Twitter at Further Your Life, or drop us an email, hello@furtheryourlifestyle.com, and let's continue the conversation. If you're on YouTube, you can drop a comment, can have a conversation, continue the conversation. And look, you're not alone in this. I think it can be quite overwhelming, and it can be a little airy-fairy, and oh yeah, you make it sound so easy, but it's not easy. Like, I get that. So if it's not easy and you're struggling, let's see what we can do to help it make it a little bit easier for you. Really do appreciate being here. As I mentioned at the start, there is still a chance to get into the giveaway for being on the pod for 1 year. Chance to give back to you guys. Jump over to the Instagram. You can see all the details there and how to be part of that. Really appreciate you being here. It's been an absolute honor to have the conversation with you, and you have a wonderful day. Cheers. Now, if you didn't know, we do have the podcast merch, and this is with a key focus of enamel pins. Now, if you haven't checked these out, make sure you do, because the intent of these are really just to be a small token and a reminder for you to charge on, to push on, and to further your lifestyle. Whether it is a gift for someone else to encourage them, or maybe to inspire them, or maybe it's a way to motivate yourself, or you can simply just make a purchase to simply support the podcast, which would be greatly appreciated. We do also have some sweaters and some long tees, so make sure you check it out. Link in the description and in the show notes. Really do appreciate it. Cheers.